This is no one from nowhere, and you are, and I am, a spirit of God. Today I want to talk to you about the hollow moon satellite, Anunnaki, human soul base. This may surprise you. 450,000 years ago, the Anunnaki came here to Earth to mine gold. Before then, the Untitled Chapter proves that there was a great celestial fight between the gods. And Enki, Marduk, to name a few, came out ahead, and hence the human race appeared, and it was created to be a servant to these Anunnaki gods. Since Enki created us in a test tube through intro-fertilization with the help of Ningish Zeta, Ninhursag, Anu, and other gods. To be honest, we were created as a slave race to serve these Anunnaki from those from heaven to earth came. Since this is the facts, let's say over 400,000 years ago, they had this scientific quick slave race remedy. This could put them ahead over 1,000,000 years ahead of us in technology. Since they are extraterrestrials that flew UFOs, i.e. spaceships, to gather their earthly vast minerals here on Earth, who's to say they didn't create the moon that could be hollow and put an engineered infrastructure to continuously enslave our souls, or Nepesh, on the dark side of the moon, or the inner moon. This moon could be a satellite of a reincarnation base for an endless wheel of slavery for our souls. I think it's an important question to question everything at this point. The reason why there is a dark side of the moon is because the moon's orbit is locked on Earth. We only see up to 41% of the moon. Also, the reason why it is blue is because of the huge amounts of titanium, which is one of the hardest metals there is known to mankind. Here's an article out of Ancient Aliens. 7 irregularities that supposedly suggest the Earth's moon was engineered. Even though the Apollo missions brought back to Earth huge amounts of data about the moon, it has remained an enigma for astronomers and scientists alike. Dr. Robert Jastrow, the first president of NASA's Commission of Lunar Exploration, called the moon the Rosetta Stone of the planets. But what is it about the moon that fascinates everyone? Well, there are many people who firmly believe that the Earth's moon is actually a terraformed and engineered piece of hardware that has a 3-mile thick outer layer of dust and rocks. Beneath this layer, it is believed that the moon has a solid shell of around 20 miles made of highly resistant materials such as titanium, uranium-236, and neptunium-237. Definitely elements that you would not expect to find inside the moon. There are many ufologists around the world who speculate that the moon is actually a giant base where extraterrestrials survey mankind's progress. There are so many mysteries surrounding Earth's moon that there are those who have proposed that the moon could be something entirely different. Robin Brett, a scientist from NASA, stated, "It seems easier to explain the existence of the moon than, or the non-existence of the moon than its existence." Number 1, the moon seems engineered. On November 1969, NASA intentionally crashed a lunar module that caused an impact of a 1-ton stick of TNT or dynamite on the moon. The shock waves built up, and NASA scientists listened to what was happening on the moon. Strangely, after impact, NASA scientists said that the moon rang like a bell, and the vibration continued for 30 minutes, according to Ken Johnson, supervisor of the Data and Photo Control Department. The moon not only rang like a bell, but the whole moon wobbled in such a precise way that it was almost as though it had a gigantic hydraulic damper struts inside it. Number 2, the moon has elements it should not have. In the 1970s, Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Shekhavaz from the Soviet Academy of Science wrote an article called "Is the Moon the Creation of Alien Intelligence?" It was a very interesting article that asked some very important questions. How is it possible that the surface of the moon is so hard, and why does it contain minerals like titanium? Mysteriously, there are some lunar rocks that have been found to contain precious metals, such as brass, the elements of uranium-236 and neptunium-237, that have never been found to occur naturally. Yet there are traces of them on the moon. Uranium-236 is a radioactive nuclear waste, which is found in spent nuclear and reprocessed uranium. More interestingly, neptunium-237 is a radioactive metallic element and a byproduct of nuclear reactors and the production of plutonium. You have to ask these questions. What is happening on Earth's moon? From where do these elements and minerals come from? As a side note, I want to point out 2 things. Only things ring like a bell if they're hollow. Secondly, there was many wars by the Anunnaki, nuclear wars like Sodom and Gomorrah, and we're going to get to these things, but potentially, possibly, they could have cleaned up the Earth of radioactive nuclear waste and brought it to the moon. Anyhow, number 3, Earth's moon does not have a solid core like every other planetary object. Researchers are nearly 100% sure that it is hollow or has a low density structure. Strangely, the moon's concentration of mass is below the surface in a series of points. Number 4, the moon is older than the Earth. The moon is nearly 800,000 years older than the Earth. Number 5, incredible orbit. Earth's moon is the only moon in the solar system nearly perfect circular orbit. In fact, it does not spin like a natural celestial body. In other words, our moon does not share any characteristics with other moons found in our solar system. If that isn't strange enough, consider that from any point on the surface of our planet, only one side of the moon is visible. Number 6, lunar rocks and titanium. There are some lunar rocks that have been found to contain 10 times more titanium than titanium-rich rocks on planet Earth. Here on Earth, we use titanium in supersonic jets, deep diving submarines, and spacecraft. It's unexplainable. Dr. Harold Urey, Nobel Nobel Prize winner for chemistry, said he was terribly puzzled by the rocks astronauts found on the moon and their titanium content. The samples were unimaginable and mind-blowing since researchers could not account for the presence of titanium. Number 7, precise position. If all of the above points do not get you to think differently about the Earth's moon, here are some more interesting things about the moon. What is keeping the moon in its nearly perfect position? The moon has a precise altitude, course, and speed, allowing it to function properly in regards to planet Earth. Simply put, the moon should not be where it is currently. Everything points to the possibility that Earth's moon was in fact placed into its current orbit in the distant past. The moon's unnatural orbit and irregular composition raises hundreds of questions that neither NASA scientists, astronomers, or geologists are able to answer today. I do have some explanations. The 12th Planet by Zecharia Sitchin. As part of the new celestial order upon Earth, Marduk made the divine moon appear, designated him to mark the night, define the days every month. We have a lunar cycle calendar. Who was the celestial god? The text calls him Shageski, celestial god who protects Earth. There is no mention earlier in the epic of a planet by this name, yet there he is, within her heavenly pressure gravitational field. And who is meant by her, Tiamat or Earth? The roles of and references to Tiamat and Earth appear to be interchangeable. Earth is Tiamat reincarnated. The moon is called Earth's protector. That is exactly what Tiamat called Kingu, her chief satellite. I want to point out this is from, he's getting this information from the Epic of Creation, the Unama Elish. Marduk then did not destroy Kingu. He punished him by taking away his independent orbit, which Tiamat had granted him as he grew in size. Shrunk to a smaller size, Kingu remained a god, a planetary member of our solar system. Without an orbit, he could only become a satellite again. Notice the word satellite, please. As Tiamat's upper part was thrown into a new orbit as the new planet Earth, we suggest, Kingu was pulled along. Our moon, we suggest, is Kingu, Tiamat's former satellite. Transformed into a celestial Dagay, Kingu has been stripped of his vital elements. Atmosphere, waters, radioactive matter, he shrunk in size and became a mass of lifeless clay. These Sumerian terms fittingly describe our lifeless moon, its recently discovered history, and the fate that befell this satellite that started out as Kingu, great emissary, and ended up as Dagu, pot of lead. L.W. King, the 7 tablets of creation, reported the existence of 3 fragments of an astronomical mythological tablet that presented another version of Marduk's battle with Tiamat, which included verses that dealt with the matter in which Marduk dispatched Kingu. Kingu, her spouse, with a weapon not of war, he cut away. The tablets of destiny from Kingu he took his hand. A further attempt by B. Ladisberger in 1923 in the Archive it's a German name, to edit and fully translate the text demonstrated their interchangeably of the names Kingu, Insu, i.e. moon. Such texts not only confirm our conclusion that Tiamat's main satellite became our moon, they also explain NASA's findings regarding a huge collision when celestial bodies the size of large cities came crashing into the moon. Both the NASA findings and the text discovered by L.W. King describes the moon as the planet that was laid waste. Cylinder seals from Mesopotamia have been found that depict the celestial battle, showing Marduk fighting a fierce female deity. One such depiction shows Marduk shooting his lightning at Tiamat with Kingu, clearly identified as the moon, trying to protect Tiamat, his creator. This pictorial evidence that Earth's moon and Kingu were the same satellite is further enhanced by the etymological fact that the name of the god Sin, in later times associated with the moon, derived from Lord of the Wasteland. And Sin is depicted as Nanur, the Anunnaki god. Also, he has very many similarities to Ningasida. He's also known as Thoth, Allah, Hermes, Buddha, Odin, Quetzalcoatl, and very similar to Ningasida. He turned most of Tiamat's satellites into comets. Her chief satellite, Kingu, he put into orbit around Earth to become the moon. The Vedas are the most ancient scriptures written in Sanskrit. The Vedas say all souls return to the moon after death to be devoured by maternal spirits. Tartars of Central Asia worship the moon as Marka Allah, queen of life and death, said to be eater of men. Africans said the moon searched for men to devour. Pythagorean sects viewed the moon as the home of the dead, a female gate, Yoni, through which souls passed on the way to the paradise fields of the stars. Greeks often located the Elysian fields, home of the blessed dead, in the moon. Castor of Rhodes said the shoes of Roman senators were decorated with ivory lunioles or crescents to show that after death they would inhabit the moon. Roman religion taught that the souls of the just are purified in the moon. Wearing the crescent was visible worship of the goddess. This was why the prophet Isaiah denounced the women of Zion for wearing lunar amulets in Isaiah 3:18. The crescent moon worn by Diana and used in the worship of other goddesses is said to be the ark or vessel of boat-like shape, symbol of fertility, or the container of the germ of all life. The same ark carried gods like Osiris into death, which may account for Jeremiah's hostility to the ark's symbolism in Jeremiah 3:16. Semites feared the devouring old moon, as Hindus feared the devouring of Kaliki. Superstitious Christians sometimes refused to sleep where moonlight might touch them. The idea of the journey to the moon after death is one which has been preserved in the more advanced cultures. It is not difficult to find themes of the moon as the land of the dead, or the regeneration receptacle of souls. This is one reason why the moon presides over the formations of organisms, and also over their decomposition. Because the moon was the receptacle of souls between reincarnation, it sheltered both the dead and the unborn. Some myths say that Jesus Christ, after Jesus Christ's death, he was carried to the moon. Many people are throwing around the idea of the Anunnaki having a moon base on the dark side of the moon and its reincarnation base with infrastructure. That keeps us a forever slave soul. What do you think, I may ask? Revelation 12:1. And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed of the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her a head, a crown of 12 stars. Oddly enough, I looked online about a joke about the moon, and this is what I found. What's the name of the first satellite to orbit Earth? The moon. This may not be a joke after all, but I do have another one. What did Michael Jackson have in common with NASA? It's been decades since the first moonwalk. I love you so much, and so does God, and always remember the truth will set you free, and you are, and I am, a spirit of God. In Jesus' name, amen.